today, so raise your hand if you need a mic. And do we have the mics out yet? If you want to get the gentleman on the end of the mic, I don't know if we can work on one from over here. Go ahead.
I'm starting out. Just a non-Super Bowl related one. You know, last year at this time, you guys were coming back from coaching at the Senior Bowl. I'm just curious what advice maybe you would have to some newer or younger head coaches out there who maybe haven't had the kind of success they'd hoped for early on in their career?
I mean, yeah, being at the Senior Bowl, it's not always the most fun thing for a coach because the season just ended and you like to get away for a little bit, but it's a huge advantage. You get to go there, get a head start on a bunch of guys. People are scouts and everyone have already been looking at, and you get to meet a lot of people, which can really help you. Usually when you're there, you know, you got to add some people to your team, which we've been doing for the 3 years we've been here, and I think going to that Senior Bowl helped us out a lot. You know, we added a few guys from that team. You find out about a few guys that you don't want to add also, which helps. But, you know, I mean, look how much Debo's helped us this year, and it would be hard for us to do what we did to go get him if we wouldn't have spent some time with him like that.
All right, we've got Cam Inman over here.
Hi, Kyle. What kind of unique challenges does Tyrann Mathieu pose for you when you're designing your game plan and what your offense has to watch out for with Tyrann?
A ton. I got a ton of respect for him. Played him a number of times. He was a really good player in Arizona. Got to go against him in Houston where he was good, and I feel like he's playing at the top of his game right now. So I was hoping it wouldn't be like that, but after turning on the tape last week, it is. He's one of the main reasons that they're playing so well on D. He's athletically, he's very good. He can cover receivers, he can cover tight ends, he can cover anybody. That's why he gets away playing as a nickel back and a safety. He's extremely smart. The disguises he does sometimes seems like he would be out of position, but he always gets back into position. So he's as good of a safety as there is in this league.
Sorry, front row right.
Coach, the Patriots' comeback in Super Bowl 51 was one of those freakish things where they had to get every break and everything had to go right for a quarter and a half. Is there anything that you learned from that you can carry forward here, or is it just pain?
No, I mean, that's what you learn. I think anyone can learn a lot of stuff from that game. I mean, no matter how much you get up on someone, you got to keep moving the chains to keep the ball from going back. So you better convert a third down or do extremely well on first and second down. You're going to keep giving it back to them. When you're playing against a quarterback like Tom Brady, you got to do some things to get him off the field also. So he was unbelievable in that game, as good as any quarterback I've ever seen play a game, and he's had a lot of good ones. But the way he was on third down, the way he was just automatic, I thought our coverages were tight, and he still seemed to hit everybody. So it just shows no matter what, how good you have to play to beat a good team and a good player and a good coach like that.
Back left, gentleman in the plaid. Yep, go ahead.
Kyle, how would you describe your offensive philosophy? And considering how many different styles there might be, why do you believe that this is the right one?
I mean, you try to have a foundation, which I guess is what your offense is, which is run games you believe in, some play actions off of it, a keeper system, some dropbacks you start with in training camp. But it's just a foundation of stuff. But then you get into the year, and it's just all about what you're going against. So, our philosophy is just, it depends what the defensive philosophy is. We're trying to attack in everything we do, whatever their fronts are, whatever their coverages are. So you're always changing and evolving in that, but you also can't reinvent the wheel every week, or your players aren't going to be very good at it. So you got to have a foundation of certain things that they do and they work at all the time. And you just got to be able to find ways through the words you use and the formations that mix people up and change responsibilities so you can give them an advantage based off of what you're going against.
On the right-hand side, outside blue shirt.
Kyle, how did Wes Welker come to join your staff in the offseason, and what has he brought to your team this year?
I've been a fan of Wes for a long time. Got to play against him when he was at Tech and I was at Texas, so I always knew of him then. Followed him a ton going into the NFL. I remember trying to hype him up a ton and draft meetings and stuff when I was in Tampa, just knowing how good he was. And then watching his career and just how everywhere he's gone better and better, and having the Hall of Fame career that he did, I don't think just comes off of just being born to do that. And obviously he's an extremely talented guy, but he worked at it and understood football so well. That's what made him so great. And then when I heard he got into coaching, I was always intrigued. And I knew that he had put in a few years down there in Houston. And when our receiver job came open, he was a guy I was just very interested in talking to. So when Billy let us talk to him, we brought him in for an interview. And after we interviewed him, we didn't have to interview anyone else.
All right, Chris Biederman, second row middle.
Kyle, you've talked about how how much you rely on Mike McDaniel and Mike LaFleur for your game planning, but how would you describe your personal relationship with each of those guys, given how long you've worked with them?
Well, yeah, we've gotten close over the years. I mean, it didn't start out that way. You know, Kubiak brought Mike McDaniel to Houston. That's where I first met him, and I was a receiver coach my first year there, and he was a quality control, and kind of the assistant receiver coach always was around with me and then followed me with quarterbacks. And then when I went to, then Matt LaFleur came in, so I got to meet Matt and developed a relationship with him. And Mike was always visiting us up in Washington. He was a coordinator at Division II school. And then when I went to Cleveland, I brought Mike with me there to be the quality control, and he had followed me to Atlanta and then here. And, you know, those guys got in the building through other people, and then just getting to know them. They were so impressive, smart, worked so hard, ate up everything that we said, even stuff I would forget, they would remember. Stuff that I said, I'd be like, no, I think I said it this way, and they would correct me and say, no, you said it a different way a couple days ago. So they're awesome guys to keep around, how hard they worked, and then just everywhere they've gone, they've been along the whole time. So they've seen all the adjustments, how we've evolved on everything, and even the 3 years we've had together. I mean, they were a huge part their first 2 years, big time, but even this year they've been even bigger. I mean, I know I get a lot of credit for stuff that happens on offense and stuff, but those guys, they've taken a lot of that over. I mean, they do the majority of the game planning on Monday and Tuesday. I got to dabble in a bunch of stuff, and I'm spread a little more thin earlier in the week, which is something I used to stress about a lot. But giving these guys those responsibility, they've grown so much more in that way, and that's why I don't stress about it much anymore. They know what they're doing, and by the end of the week, we're all on the same page, and really helps me for Sunday.
Back right in the green shirt.
Hey, Kyle, here on your right. You've been asked a lot of questions the last couple weeks about the Super Bowl, the 28-3 loss, and you don't run from the questions. You give long, honest answers about some of the lessons you've learned and some of the things you wish to have back. And your players openly talk about how you use it as a teaching moment. Why has it been important for you to kind of embrace it instead of maybe running away from it?
Because I don't think there's anything to run away from. I'm very proud of that year. I was proud of our team. In Atlanta, I was very proud of our players. And I thought, well, we played a pretty darn good game. I mean, we were up 28-3 in the fourth, and we all know that we did not play well in the fourth, didn't coach well. But to sit there and run from something that, I'm not going to run from that. I mean, I'm very disappointed about losing the 28-3 game, and that was very hard on our entire team. I understand perception-wise how much I had to take of that, but I mean, I think I can deal with that. I've been able to. And I feel like knowing that has made me a little bit stronger. You don't always know what you can deal with and stuff. And I think it was harder for people who loved me, like my wife and family members and stuff, because they're very defensive of it and things like that. But, I mean, I was involved in the game. I know exactly what happened on every single play, and I know I can live with that. And I'm proud of a lot of that stuff. I know a ton of that year. So I mean, I would do it all over again. Maybe a play or so, I would call it differently. But I'll do it all over again, and I feel a lot stronger and better from it.
All right, Phil Barber, second row, middle.
Kyle, sort of a follow-up McDaniel-LaFleur question. You talked about how valuable they are to you. That's a lot of hands in the pot on offense when you add your obvious role, and I'm wondering how much of it is a division of labor and how much is it a collaboration amongst the three, and how do you manage to not get in each other's way when putting in the game plan?
That happens from a lot of trial and errors and from being together for a while. I mean, that's why I wanted to bring them here so bad. You know, when I first got here, you know, I knew it was going to take some time, and Mike had been a position coach twice. McDaniel, LaFleur had not been in the NFL yet. I didn't want them to go right from that to coordinator yet. I didn't think that was fair to put that all on them. But very quickly in their roles and how they acted the first year, they both were coordinators. So that's why they earned that role as run game coordinator and pass game coordinator. I think it's funny, everyone asks every year where they're going to go. I mean, they're our coordinators, so they have coordinator jobs, is what I keep telling people. But I don't think I'll have those guys forever. They got the capability to be head coaches. They're very smart in what they do, and you know, we put a lot of time in together. We've gone through a lot of things together, and that's not something you can just teach someone. That's something you got to go through, and I think we all know how each other think, and when it's like that, it's not that messy. I mean, someone knows what I'm thinking, what I'm expecting, and I can talk to someone, and I know how they're going to go relay it to someone else, and that doesn't happen just from liking someone or being together for a year or so. That happens together by going through a lot of stuff together.
All right, front row here, left.
Coach, what's going to be the biggest takeaway from this whole experience if it doesn't end in your guys' favor?
Whatever the experience is. I mean, you take away something from every day. You know, a lot of people, I mean, whoever loses the Super Bowl is going to be very upset. It's going to take a while to get over. And if you're scared of failure and you're scared of the pain that it will feel, then this sport is not for you. I'm just pumped to have the opportunity, and we're going to give it everything we have. And well, yeah, if you come up short, that's going to hurt a lot because we put a lot into it. But I'll take that gamble anytime someone gives us the opportunity.
All right, we've got the gentleman in the front here.
Kyle, good afternoon, Federico Olvera, Mexico City. Kyle, will becoming the first father and son duo to win the Super Bowl give you a little extra motivation to win the game on Sunday? And what does that mean to you, and what are your feelings about it?
I mean, I think that's pretty separate. I mean, if we get the opportunity to win the Super Bowl, I mean, I think those feelings are something I'll try to explain then. I think it would be a very special thing that is something that I've gone through with our team. And everyone we coach with, everyone we play with, everyone in our building. Just the grind has been this year, the grind has been for 3 years. And that's really what you think about if you end up winning a game like that. But I know when it's all said and done, and my dad and I have had a great relationship. We've been through a lot of stuff together, and it means a lot to me just how his career went. And I'm glad that I can have some success and make him proud in that way. But I mean, if we get the opportunity to win a Super Bowl, I mean, I'm going to be thinking about the 49ers at that time.
All right, second row, Jennifer Chan.
Having installed the game plan, as if you're going to play on Sunday, what has this week been for you like? And at halfway through this week, how are the players?
Oh, it's awesome. I wish the players could have 2 weeks every week to do a game plan. I mean, for them to come out on a Wednesday today and just be firing on all cylinders, it's not usually like that. Usually we put in a game plan Wednesday morning, and there's a lot of mistakes and stuff. Wednesday walkthrough, more in practice, and you got to kind of catch up as the week goes, and usually feel pretty good by Saturday. But when you get a whole week to go through it, you feel a lot better. I mean, we put in a couple new things today, took out some stuff we didn't like last week, but I think it takes a little bit of the pressure off the guys because they've had plenty of time to study and do stuff, and there's a little more things here that you got to deal with. So it's nice to have gotten most of that out of the way, and now they're just doing the little extra details that'll make them a little more comfortable on Sunday.
Matt Mayo on the front here.
Kyle, how did Tevin Coleman look today in practice, and what are the things that you look for from the running backs during the course of the week that kind of give you an idea of which guy or which guys are going to step forward on Sundays?
I mean, you always want to look at the health of the guys, and Tevin looked good today. I mean, it's a shoulder injury, so there's no issues with his legs and stuff, and he's running very well, like he always does when he's healthy. So we'll see as the week goes how much the pain tolerances and stuff for his shoulder. But just every week with backs, I mean, running backs in this league take a beating and stuff, so you want to watch them throughout the week, just how their legs are, how smooth they're running. I mean, we're not tackling or anything out there, but how much do they press their blocks? How much do they hit the right hole? How much can they do at full speed without having to slow down and come to a stop before they cut? So most of our guys are in a pretty good groove every week. That's why I go into games not truly set on, hey, this guy's going to get all of them. When we go in, our guys are so very similar, and they all could be our number one back at any time that it's not as stressful of a decision as you guys would think for us because they've all done such a good job.
All right, we've got time for two more. Lady in the back right, white jacket.
Kyle, just to follow up on that practice question, how have you maintained that mindset that you guys have had all season to not get too high and not get too low? How have you managed to maintain that this week amidst the craziness? And then what are your goals for the remainder of the week?
I mean, the goals are just keep everything the same. And I think that's also the answer to your first question, too. I mean, you try not to make stuff up. You know, we're going to the Super Bowl, which is a big deal. We recognize that. You kind of address that our first meeting after the NFC Championship game. I tried to tell the guys, you know, you can admit it. It does feel good to win an NFC Championship. It feels good to go to the Super Bowl. I hope you guys enjoyed 2 days, Monday and Tuesday, of feeling really good about yourself. Now check your ego out the door because that is over. That'll be very short-lived if we don't find a way to win this game. And it's all about winning this game and nothing else. When you guys go down there, there'll be a lot of stuff up. There'll be nicer signs around us and more people asking questions. There'll be a couple more interview sessions we have to go to. But besides that, everything else is exactly the same. And that's how the game goes, too. And there's going to be a lot more people on the sidelines. It'll be a longer day for us, just waiting for it. But once that ball snaps, it's just a football game of two really good teams. And anything else that you put in your mind is going to not help you win that game.
All right, last question here, Art in the front.
Yeah, Kyle, Richard Sherman gets obviously a lot of attention because of his personality. Could you describe his defense and what he's contributed to this team?
Richard is one of the smarter players I've been around. I think he gets a lot of attention because how good his career's been, how well he's played. He's been on championship teams. He's on another team that's got a chance to win a championship. He's very articulate, much more articulate than myself and probably anybody else in our room except this other Stanford guys like our GM. But Richard's game is just, he knows how to play football. He knows when to take his shots. He knows when to be aggressive. He knows when to be conservative. He knows how to do it all, and he plays the game within the game. He's a physical guy. He's not afraid of contact. He'll go up and support the run. He'll be physical with receivers. And he also, even though he seems wound up a lot and will black out sometimes during games, there's also a control to him, too, that makes him play like a very smart player.
All right, folks, thank you very much.
Thanks, guys.